things are going awesome and you're just like, I can't believe this is going so well, or you're like, gosh, I'm about to like fold up, and like you're never just in that middle zone for very long, at least.
That is the truth.
And that's the thing that people don't realize is like it's not just gonna be like you clock in like, okay, it's an average day, or it's like you're either celebrating or you're terrified, you know.
But that is accurate. You're never right where you always want to be for very long.
Yeah.
At least I don't feel like you are. And sometimes it could be a day, sometimes it could be a week, an hour, whatever, and then something's going to skew that up or down.
And that's a financial thing. Like I feel like there's some months where it's like things just all hit at the same time.
Yeah.
And then it's like the next month, it's like you don't know where anything's coming from. And the longer I'm in business, the more I'm like, okay, when you have those months where it's like everything is hitting.
Yeah.
You need that's not going to be every month.
Right.
So like plan for that. Like that should cover 3 months.
Yeah.
That's, you know what I mean? You almost have to treat it like those big months it's just an average at that point.
You know, in all the sales organizations I've been in, they're larger sales teams, right?
Yeah.
So they had to do sales forecasts, they had to do CRM, they had to do all these things that most guys, and it's usually dudes, there's some girls in there too, but usually guys are like, man, I'm not filling out all my notes for everything I do on CRM, and I'm not forecasting how many whatever I'm selling I'm going to do this year and blah, blah, blah. And I always thought that was a negative. Like that was something that was like a punishment you had to do. But that forecasting it ties to what you're saying. You're always stressed out, or things are going really good all the time, or it's never just even. That's why you forecast.
Yeah.
It's because you can make financial decisions. You can say, yeah, we can hire those people. We can buy those trucks. We can buy that office. We're expanding, right? Because the forecast is telling us things are looking good for a while. It's like going to Florida.
Yep.
Shoot, this week's going to be beautiful. This week's going to be rain, whatever. That's a forecast. It doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. That's what everything is lining up to be, right? And to stay even, I think that is you nailed it, man. That's one of the toughest things. And when you are there, I get nervous. I get super nervous.
Yeah.
Man, everything's what's coming? Because it is coming.
Well, and I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people go out of business right away.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, because they don't forecast.
Well, and they have they might start out and have a great year that first year, but you haven't been through the down parts yet. So you just think this is how it's always going to be.
A tall tale is like a new company or a new person or new whatever. Like they get a little bit of success, and guess what? They're on vacation every 2 months. Every 2 months. They're in Vegas. They're in there. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, man, I stopped selling. I stopped marketing. I stopped doing all these things, right? That's why I don't go on vacation hardly ever, man.
Yeah.
I don't ever take my foot off the gas. And it still happens to you. You'll still get those lulls and
I remember my dad always used to say, when you could tell when it was like there was like a stereotype with starting a new like electrical business, like that's what business he's in, but he'd always say there's like a stereotype in the industry where it's like somebody starts their business, they're doing well, they buy a new truck and they buy a new boat, and that was like, and then all of a sudden they're like trying to figure out where their money's going.
Yeah.
We
just signed a job. It's a big, huge full house renovation deal, and the guy was sharing a story about somebody that he knew that was in a similar position, and the person got this big insurance check, right? And they thought they didn't even know how to manage that money. They just went out and bought a new car. And then they went and had their construction work done, and when it's time to do the final, they're like, well, we don't have any money. And the guy's like, well, where'd all the insurance? Well, we bought a new car. We bought that and that. And they're like, that's not what that was for. Like, you got to take that money and like put it away or not see it.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking people that can't manage money. It's very difficult. And if you're not disciplined and you don't forecast and you don't plan ahead for rainy days, man, it hurts more. It's still going to hurt, but it hurts even more.
Yeah.
Like you got to get out of that hole even further. And we've all been there. I mean, it just happens. But
with that kind of in mind, now that you've been in business for a while, what kind of things do you do to try to kind of, like, you're not in control of how things are always going to go high or low all the time. But like, what are some things that you do maybe to kind of mitigate those extremes and like try to keep the business kind of in that middle level?
Yeah, we do a lot of. I pay attention to the marketplace. Indicators, for example, like our marketplace is down a little bit in Central Indiana. It's trending up again, but like I'll check like how many permits were applied for in say this month or last month. There's trends, right? There's other. You can watch the Dow. All these things will be indicators of the up and down. But like your current market, if leads are down. You gotta wonder why. Is it because of outside influences, like something political going on? Is it the time of year? Is it spring break? Is it there's a lot of factors that slow things down.
Yeah.
But like economically, I go to that like each county, and there's things you can research and just follow the trends. Like I said, permits are probably the easiest. In Hendricks County, they're up, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
In other counties, they're down a little bit, and this is all new home construction. But that still is an indicator. But when interest rates are high, that's usually an indicator. But they're starting to drop pretty significantly.
Yeah.
And I've heard there's going to be 2 more drops, so that's going to help everybody.
Yeah.
So there's just things to pay attention to, but that the reality is, it's nice to stay 100% busy all the time. But I think I talked about this a while back, maybe I was on another guy's podcast. I look at business like a career, like a football career. I use Tom Brady as an example, but because everybody knows Tom Brady. But I'm like, say he played, 20 years? I mean, he didn't win the Super Bowl 20 times.
Right.
I mean, he won 7. That's 6 with New England and 1 with Tampa. But I mean, 6 out of 20 is pretty daggone good, and then not to count all the appearances he made. But what I'm saying is he had rebuilding years. He had down years. He had injury years. All businesses will feel that. It's how you respond to it. I mean, every business has its ups and downs, and you just got to plan for that. If you have a killer, third quarter, and your fourth quarter's not warm and fuzzy, you might want to peel those acorns back and not spend a ton of money, right? You got to plan for those downtimes. And that's that discipline piece that a lot of people, you just got to learn it.
Yeah.
And you got to feel that pain. I learned from pain.
Yeah.
Like, I've been broke 1,000 times, man. And I hate that feeling. So whenever I start to feel it, I double up on everything. I double up on my effort, my attitude.
Yeah.
And you'll get yourself out of there. But you got to surround yourself with good people, too. People you trust, you can count on, you can bounce ideas off of, and you can complain to. You can dump your day on them, and they'll be like, hey, I still love you. You're doing the right things. That kind of stuff gets you through it. But, yeah, I love it when it's just rainbows and butterflies all the time, but that's just not reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a big difference between somebody that makes it and somebody who doesn't. Is like they're both going through those low moments.
Yeah.
It's not somebody that made it isn't having less low moments, but it's if they can survive those, stomach that, and then learn from it, and maybe the next time the low isn't as low, and you just keep kind of making your low not as bad or not feel it as much. But
another thing it kind of hit me square between the eyes about a week ago is when things are good, like when things are real good. And I'm guilty of this. Like my marketing fades back.
Yeah.
My networking fades back. All these things you get complacent. Oh, it's so good. Why do I need to network? Why do I need to market? Why do I need to do all these things, right? Well, when it gets slow, and it will get slow at some point, it's easier to keep that boat afloat than getting it pushed into the water for the first time again. Like, let's not remarket and start the wheel. Let's keep a consistent, disciplined cadence is what I like to say. So I've started changing. I'm doing a lot more networking than I ever have. We do have a social media, like a calendar now, like a cadence, if you will.
Yep.
And another thing that kind of dawned on me is people want to hear from you and me, right? They want to hear from you. So our marketing efforts are going to be a little different. They'll be a little more personal like they used to be. So it doesn't matter if you've been in business for a day or 100 years, you're always learning. And you gotta, when things get uncomfortable and when things get really like, I don't know what to do, the best thing to do is go back to the basics. Literally, it's just like football.
Yeah.
Learn how to block better, tackle better. Just the basics will get you out of that rut quicker than you'll ever dream of. Just getting back to the basics. And then just don't ever quit, man. I mean, there's gonna be days that you just be like, man, this sucks. Why am I doing? I just wanted 9 to 5. I come home and well, guess what? You'll do that for a week. You'll miss your old entrepreneurial life. I promise you. There's days you just take that day. Just take a day and just do what you got to do, and then get back at it.
Yeah.
That's
because it's one of those things that if you can survive those really low moments, it will get better.
Oh yeah.
As long as you're putting the effort in, it's going to turn.
And that's really a separator, man. I tell Bo this all the time, and bro, everybody all this all the time. If you can get through that hell and make it through it, you'll look back, you'll be like, holy shit, I didn't think I was going to get through that. Fast forward a year, you're going to go through some hell again. Dude, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
I did this last year, and this is how I'm going to get through this. You just get stronger, Anything you can. It's kind of like that Kelly Clarkson song. What didn't kill you makes you stronger. It's true. It's literally true. It's if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger.
Yeah.
So if you can get through these things, I mean, my God, bring it on, right? You don't want that. You don't want all that smoke, but you got to have that self-confidence. Like, dude, I can do this. I don't want to, but I can do this in my sleep.
Yeah.
And
the more times you go through those moments, then, like you were saying, you start to look for those indicators that are telling you, okay, the last time this happened, these things were happening in the market or whatever. So you can kind of forecast them a little bit better, because when you're first starting out, you get hit with one of those weeks or months or whatever. It's like, where did this come from?
And when you're first starting out, I would give somebody advice to not get too deep in the weeds on that.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like being born, right? When you're starting your business, you're a baby. You really need to learn how to eat. You need to learn how to talk. You learn how to walk. I know this is baby and simple, but in a business way, you got to learn those simple things real early.
Yeah.
And you can't really focus on what could happen or what, all that stuff, because that's just cloudy noise that's just keeping you from getting to that launch point, if you will. You got to learn all the basics. You got to, there's so much. Your first year is hell. It's just hell, but it's a good hell.
Yeah.
And you'll get through it. And you got to have a passion for it. You got to want that. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm in business. I get to go golfing whenever I want." Bro, you don't. I'm telling you right now. At least I don't. I don't even know how people do that.
Yeah.
Of course, we're small. We're not huge. I don't have 1,000 people working for me, but that's how I keep that sharp edge, I guess. But it gets dull quick. It can get dull quick, and then but you got to get self-reliant and self-belief and all that, and just go kill snakes. That's the only way to do it, man. That's the only way I know how to do it.
Yeah.
But what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, you can only control what you can control, right?
Yeah.
So like I love that what you said about, in those moments, just going back to the basics and, doing those things that are like not necessarily fun, but I think the instinct is like, okay, I'm in a low moment. I got to do some big splashy thing to, make a huge impact really quick, but it's like, that's not really what does it.
Yeah.
It's the little things all the time. And I've definitely had those moments where I've gotten super busy, which is great. And then it's like, I'm doing all these projects, and then I wrap them up, and I'm like, oh, I have nothing next week, or I have nothing next month already, and it's, you were busy, but during all that time, I wasn't doing the little things to stay in touch with people and, be prospecting and looking for, networking is a big thing. Like, that it gets hard when you're busy and you're running and executing on what you've sold or what you are trying to do, but it's important.
Yeah. And then you can get bogged down with, I don't know. A lot of people just can complain too, and they can make your days just extra hard just by just dumping their day on you too. I mean, we deal with the public. I'm thankful we have we have just amazing customers, man. We really do. We really, really do. And I network with other like contractors, other business owners, and I hear it from them, but like they just deal with like everybody's negativity. And one guy, I won't say his name, he's like, how do you deal with that negativity? I was like, I just ignore it. And I know that sounds mean, but I'll hear them, and I'll smile, and I'll keep talking about what, like, we're marching forward, right? And these things are like things that happened like weeks, like things that were resolved, but we're still talking about them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll hear you, but I'm going to keep talking about we're pushing this thing forward, right?
Yeah.
I'll do that with customers, family members, whoever. Like, it's your mission, and you can't let people just come in and steer you off the ship, so to speak. There's a lot of things that we have to deal with as business owners. You got to have a positive attitude, but there are so many negatives coming at you every day, just every day, that you just got to deal with.
And the type of work that you're doing, your job is to temporarily destroy their home so you can
while they're
rebuild
living in it
while
usually.
they're there.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that wrecks your just mindset and just general feelings of well-being like your house being just torn apart. And it's always, and everything you do, like you're finding stuff as you go. And like, there's always things that you couldn't account for at the beginning. And so like, you're just dealing with all that on top of it just being stressful out of the gate. But
So as a business owner, even like what you do, like people are probably pretty critical. They want changes, they want edits, they want all this and that. And, and you got to stop the bus and explain all that to them. Like, here's why we're doing this. Here's why, and you're happy to do it. But it just takes a lot of time to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
And that could be daunting,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun though.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't change it for the world. And this is no way, shape, or form a complaint. This is why we do podcasts. Just if you want to hear about, our experiences, I wouldn't change what I do for the world. Like you couldn't pay me cash money to go back and do what I used to do. I loved it. I grew from it, but I do. I love it, and it's not work for me. It's hard work, but it's not work. Like, I don't dread it. I look forward to it, to be honest. Yeah. There's days you're just like, what the heck, man? Those are the days you just go fishing for a few hours.
Yep.
And get tied back into reality, and then you come back and you're stronger and better, and you're not as pissy,
Yep.
So, but do you deal with a lot of, like, with what you do, though, do you deal with a lot of, so you shoot something, you edit it, and you send it to the customer. Do they ever come back and like, man, I want to change it all, start over? Like, or is it usually pretty cut and dry?
Yeah, I've tried to get, over the years, I've tried to get better at showing people in the moment, like letting them see what things look like so that they're not surprised by it. So like before I leave there, I'm getting at least a general, like it's not, I always tell them it's not going to look as good in camera as it will once it's edited.
Right.
Just know that going into it. But like, in general, do you like the vibe of it? Do you like the way the room looks? Do you, like if it's an interview or something, like do you like the way everything is going? Because then they've at least signed off on that part of it, and so the rest of it's just little tweaks. But because I used to not show anybody anything, and then I'd send them the video, and it's like, oh, I really don't like the way that background looks. I'm like, we already shot it. I've already like, so to redo that is a whole thing. Whereas in the moment, if they can like, oh, let's tweak this, and I can just redo something real fast, that saved me a lot. But it can be tough if the client is the one that's on camera. A lot of people don't like the way they sound on camera.
Yeah.
They don't like the way they look. And, my goal is to make it as accurate as possible.
I'm going to give you 2 compliments.
Yeah.
You told me a long time ago, like people, and this is going to sound a little, I don't know, maybe not bad at all, but you kind of said people don't really look at you that deeply. Like there's so much going on in these videos. So the first compliment is talking people off the ledge. Carrie and I used to be so like, oh my gosh, we're so worried about all the little details. And then, it ended up not even being a thing. The second compliment is your videography from when you started was great. It's even, I'm talking, dude, that last one you did for us on Lake Lemon.
Yeah.
That was next level, man.
Well, it makes it
was a commercial.
The setting makes a big difference.
Well, but I appreciate your detail because you had to stop. I know where you were sitting now that I saw it. On a busy road, it's uncomfortable, just to get a little clip of the lake with some dude riding up. I'm like, who does that? And then just that whole thing, you made a 6-month project make sense in 90 minutes. It was unbelievable, man. So I just want to say, I'd pay attention to what you're doing, and you are like every year doubling over. And so keep that shit up. That's for real. That is those little details that you do. They're awesome.
It is fun. It's a fun. It's fun work to do just because there is like I don't consider myself like a cinematographer or like an artist or anything but there's an element like it's a thing that you can get better at over time. Like there's certain jobs where you're doing one task and like there's only one way to do that task, but there's with video and photos there's always new things you can try and you can develop skills that make it better and learn little things along the way. So that's the fun part for me is like sometimes I look back at the first videos that I shot and they're like, man, it's hard to even watch,
Oh, I wouldn't say that, but I don't know if you watched because you do all our stuff, but I was really wanting to get that before that lake job that we just posted.
Yeah.
I took a walkthrough video before with the hopes of like tying it together, and I got impatient. Yeah. So I got on. Brooklyn is real good at this. She does all this stuff at Plainfield High School. They have a really awesome program. I think you need to be plugged into it. Yeah. They could learn a lot from you. They have a podcast studio, the whole nine. But I said, hey, I want to meld these two videos together, and then I went old school, back to the basics. This is a good example of going back to the basics. I went there, I just shot in front of my computer a little, hey, this is what we're doing, this is a little walk, blah, blah, blah. And I got the CapCut.
Yep.
And I was like, this is how I operate in life. I'm going to take this as far as I can on my own, and then I'm going to call in the pros. So Brooklyn gets home from school. I said, hey, I need help. Do you know anything about CapCut? It's like, Dad, I know everything about that. I'm like, all right, cool. I said, I've actually got this thing put together, but I want to put some sound. I want to blah, 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 blah. And I wanted you to, it goes back to the basics, so it scratched that itch. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that whole, and that was kind of a bad example, but that took me like an hour and a half, man. So what I'm getting at is you have come, like, it's unbelievable how far you've come, and it's just getting better. Like, it's getting noticeably better. And the clips are getting a little shorter, which is good because the audience, they don't want to sit there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But you tell a story in a very effective way. So I think that's cool. And people that want to, they should hire you to do that. Like, you're very, very good at it. So keep that up because I like dabbling in it. I don't want to know how the cake's made, so to speak, but every once in a while I'll make a cupcake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's, I've considered outsourcing some editing, but I just, there's something about like, I like taking on a project and like from start to finish, I'm the one. It's not a control thing, but it's more of like when I go out to shoot something, I'm shooting it and thinking about how it's going to be put together at the same time. So if I have to hand that off to somebody, it's like by the time they, there's a disconnect between being on site, shooting it, and then going back and putting it together. Like there's certain, and I have a couple projects coming up where I'm just shooting and I'm handing footage off because they have an internal, they have a big enough company where they have internal editors, and I'm like, this is going to be interesting because
it's hard to hand stuff off like that. Yeah. And you nailed it. It's not a control thing. But it is. Yeah. It's I want it done a certain way. I just talked about this on that daggone other podcast. It's your baby. So it really falls on. So like, for example, handing off anything like yours, the editing for you, mine would be like the marketing, the bills, that kind of stuff, the sales, those three things. I'm like, those are mine. But it really falls on like you and I, because we have to be able to explain it to that person. Like if I'm going to hire you to do all my editing, like you got to know exactly how I want it done. So when I hired Carrie, kind of the same thing, like ride with me for at least 6 months. You got to absorb everything that I do, know, blah, blah, blah. Right. I think that's the way to bring somebody in. If you were to hire an editor, like you got to be on my hip for a long time. Yeah. And it's going to be painful for you financially.
Right.
And it's painful for anybody financially because you're like, well, we got two people sitting here and we got two incomes, right? The whole idea is I need to give you some of this so we can expand.
Yeah.
But it's very, very difficult. And a lot of people will tell you you're a control freak, and that's not it. It's no, I'm the guy in charge, and I ain't gonna lose, and I'm not gonna let this ship sink. Right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not being a control freak. We're hoping to hire somebody better than us.
Right.
And we're trying to find those people.
There's
right?
lots of better editors out there.
Right.
You
but
know,
until you find that,
yeah.
it's a little on the defense. So.
And part of me is, you know, I didn't go to film school. Like I'm just self-taught with the shooting and the editing part. So for me, it's like I know how to shoot it so that I can edit it.
Yeah.
But like somebody else might shoot it a way more technical way that could hand off to anybody. But I'm like, I know what tweaks I'm going to have to make. I know when I'm shooting it, I'm even like logging like, okay, there's something I'm going to have to fix, but I know I can fix it the way I know how to fix it. But if I hand it to somebody else and it's like, I don't know that.
Go back to that CapCut story for a second.
Yeah.
Like I knew what I wanted, and I had the videos, and I had like the little stupid vision that I had made, right? So I'm like, it's going to be easier if I just do this one than if I send it to Jeff and be like, this is what I want it to look like. This is how I want my hair, blah, blah. That is not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not very effectively.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing. So sometimes you just got to do it yourself. But.
Well, and there's one thing I've run into recently too is like I have a client that they had sent me a video and they wanted something similar. And which I like having examples because then I kind of get like, okay, this is the type of video they're looking for. These are the type of shots. This is the vibe they want from it. So if somebody has one, like, I really like this, let's do something similar to this. That's a great starting point. Mm-hmm. But what I've found is like a lot of times people don't really know what they want until they see it. And that can be a problem with editing because like I sent this example, they sent me a video. They said, we want similar music to this, similar type of cuts, similar vibe. Like, okay, so I shot the video, edited everything, and I sent it. And it was one of those, it's a big company, so they have like lots of people involved in making decisions. Like my main contact was like, I love it, this looks great. Let me
run a committee.
Let me run it by a few people.
Yeah.
Then they come back with this huge list of things, and one of the things was they didn't like the music.
Okay.
I'm like, I used the song that they had sent me as the example and like ran it through something to find similar songs. The song was very similar to the one they said they wanted, but then once I sent it, they didn't want that, you know? So and I get that. A lot of times you don't know what you want until you're like, I mean, you've probably run into this with people that pick a color or pick a style of, you know, furnishing or something, and they see it and they're like, oh, I don't really like that now. But it makes it tough because like you're trying to deliver you know, exactly what they want, but until they see it, they don't exactly know.
Yeah, like Pinterest is a real good advocate for us, like the whole Pinterest thing. And I had a realtor, this was before I even started. I was still doing honeydews at the time. I did this little remodel for a realtor in, I think like Bloomington or something. And her husband were, she was a realtor, and I think he did construction, but like big, like steel construction.
Okay.
Anyway, but she's like, you know, and Pinterest was brought up, and that's why this has never left me. She's like, I was always the person that had to come in and say, you know, you have Pinterest and you have reality, and then we're trying to make those two meet in the middle because nothing's perfect. Like, and that never left me.
Yeah,
I'm like, that was a very tangible way of thinking about things. I don't say that word for word as much, but I will share that with customers that are, this color has to. We just did a big job. I had a copper roof. The guy threw a penny on the table. He goes, I want it shiny as that penny. And I said, dude, you got two options. You got the copper painted 26 gauge standing seam we can do, or you can go real copper and it's going to turn colors on you. Those are your two options. And the option that turns colors, I don't know that you can afford it. It's going to be expensive. Big roof. Anyway, some people's expectations are so out there that you got to bring them into reality. Like, dude, do you have the budget for that? Okay, if you don't, then we got to stick with the options that are affordable, right?
Yeah.
So those are some of the hurdles that I think a lot of, like, you face a lot, I face a lot, just talking people down off of, I'm not saying unexpected or just tangible reality. You know, sometimes it's just so way out there. It's like, we can do that, but like for your world, I might need to get like another producer, 3 cameras, and then the cost goes, well, I can't afford. Well, then let's get back to reality, right?
Yeah.
I want to give you what you want, but I can't also sell you a bill of goods that's not real.
Right.
You got to know what you're getting. So I feel like we educate more than we sell, if that makes sense. And usually the educational piece sells it for you.
Yeah. Well,
that makes sense.
Yeah. I heard somebody say one time that it does similar stuff to what I do. They were talking about how a client would ask them, like, how much does a video cost? It's like, and he'd always say, do you want Blair Witch Project or you want Transformers?
Yeah.
Those are both videos.
Yeah.
Those are both movies. But they're totally different budget,
Yeah.
totally different things involved.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to trying to figure that out, and you got to kind of get your expectations in line with kind of your actual financial situation too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we're here to make people's dreams come true, but there's also a starting and stopping point with the budget too. And you just don't want to be on the wrong side of that. But yeah. But anyway, well, we'll wrap this one up. Appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk to you soon.